on the diversion and sabotage of crude oil, the bane of Nigeria's economic woes, and definitive action on the way forward, this day, 2nd day of March 2021. Gentlemen of the press, let me welcome you all once more to our maiden press conference of the year 2021. We had an engaging 2020 with the press and we cannot but appreciate all of you. Therefore, it will not be out of place for me to say Happy New Year to you all. It is a known fact that Nigeria can correctly referred to as a mono economy. Our major source of revenue, and indeed foreign exchange, is from the oil and gas sector. Anything that affects this sector negatively affects the entire economy and threatens the life of poorest of homes in our country. When revenue drops, government will be unable to execute the beautiful projects in the budget, and this ultimately reflects in the state of the nation, as government will be unable to discharge its function and responsibilities to the citizens. In the oil sector, government has over the years tried its best to increase local content by encouraging indigenous companies to enable them play significant roles, particularly in the upstream sector, which was hitherto totally controlled by international oil companies. The absence of Nigerian players in the sector meant that there was likelihood that Nigeria will be ripped off by some of these international oil companies for their own benefits or even that of their parent countries. This particularly the case of Shell Petroleum Development Company Limited, Shell Nigeria Exploration and Production Company Limited, Shell Western Supply and Trading Limited, Shell International Trading and Shipping Company Limited, and their parent company, Royal Dutch Shell PLC, all of which operate in and around the country oil sector in different forms and arrangements. For the purpose of this text, and for the convenience of its understanding, we shall be referring to these companies as Shell to represent each and all of the entities of their interest. As we are aware, Shell is the operator of the Bonny and Focados crude oil export terminals, which has the capacity of 5.7 million barrels and 6.3 million barrels respectively. This has made Shell the largest exporter of Nigeria's crude oil. Shell was also the owner and operator of the OML 29 and the Nembe Creek trunk line, which it later sold sometimes in 2015 to an indigenous company known as Ato Eastern E&P Company Limited. This company, upon the acquisition of the Nembe Creek trunk line, had an agreement with Shell, which, as the operators of the Bonny oil terminal, were to be the handlers of the crude oil injected into the trunk line by Ato and other local oil companies that transport their oil to the terminal through the NCTL. Gentlemen, in our crude oil handling, there are allocations made for water and oil theft, which are calculated and then deducted from the total volume of crude supplied by the various companies. The methodology for calculating the water and crude theft allocation are determined by the Department of Petroleum Resources on behalf of the federal government of Nigeria. This approved methodology is reviewed periodically in line with the Petroleum Act and issued as guidelines by the DPR. In 2016, the DPR approved methodology was to be conducted with a metering system known as least automatic custody transfer and not any other system. However, following further complaints from local oil companies operating particularly on the Nembe Creek trunk line, the DPR conducted investigations and discovered that instead of using the approved metering system, Shell, acting through its officers and agents, deployed a manipulated and unapproved metering system known as the Coriolis flow meter. This unapproved metering system is intentional